Hey, hey, good morning. Welcome in, everyone. It is Laura, and we are going to get a message for the collective. We're going to do a daily reading today. I felt the pull to get back into the swing of doing these. It's been quite a while, so if you're new here, welcome to the channel. If you've been with me for a while, let's get back into the habit of a daily message. We do have the sun today in a conjunction to Neptune, both of these energies in Pisces. This conjunction is happening at 29 degrees, and so there is a very spiritual energy I feel coming through. I see one just flipped out. And so we're going to have to be mindful, right? We can't keep playing that blame game, right? Anaretic degrees are saying, hey, there's something here coming to a close. I feel this very heavy burden that needs to be released. And maybe it's playing the blame game, right? We can't keep pointing the finger at everybody else. We have to get to a point on our spiritual journey where we accept responsibility for our own well-being. And let's face it, we all have regrets. Regrets can be very hard to live with, right? And so we got to get to a point collectively where we understand that we cannot change the past. Holding on to these negative emotions of blame, shifting the blame, regret, guilt, shame, these emotions serve a purpose, but they're really wasted emotions, right? Because we can't go back and change the past. The only thing we really have control over is the present moment. And so right now I do feel there could be a big energy of disillusionment. I don't know, it kind of felt like a very floating energy. And we can't keep floating through the structures of our lives, right? And so I just feel there could be a big truth coming out in the energies today about accountability, about responsibility. So let's get a few of these tarot cards out and let's see what this blame is all about. So the first card out, Eight of Cups. What is it that you need to walk away from? Maybe you need to walk away from shifting the blame onto other people, right? Because we all can create our own reality. We get the Eight of Cups to the Seven of Coins. The Seven of Coins is about planting a seed. There could be a 7-year cycle coming to a close. And then we get the King of Swords in reverse. Well, if that doesn't scream blame game, I really don't know what does. And so we do have a Gemini, Libra, Aquarius energy coming through. We do get Saturn in Pisces. We get some Taurus energy here. And let's take a peek. On the bottom of the deck, we do get this Palace of Wands. And so there is a big shift here for sure. The Eight of Cups is saying, hey, it's time to leave something in the past. It's time to walk away. Maybe somebody here is walking the walk of shame. But I do feel there's some type of restructuring going on here connected to Saturn. And we do have Saturn in Pisces right now at 23 degrees. And so there is almost like a King of Wands quality coming through. And I feel this energy too kind of below the surface of the Magician and the World. But they're showing me the Magician card in my third eye in reverse. And so we kind of got to close out cycles of manipulation, blocked communication. I think blocked communication is a pretty loud message today. Blame, responsibility, letting go of regret. Geez, this is feeling really, really heavy. So what I want to say is, before the Eight of Cups comes the Seven of Cups, which for me is illusion. And so maybe there's a blaming game here, or blame, the energy of blame in general can stem from the illusion, right? That things should maybe have happened differently, right? We all got to get to a point where we realize things happened the way that they did, and they happened exactly as they were divinely directed to happen. And we can't go back and change the past, right? We cannot go back and change the past. And so what I feel is something here has become extremely heavy. It's probably preventing growth. It's probably creating the energy of stuckness here with the Seven of Pentacles. And so taking responsibility, I want to say, is not about guilt. It is not about guilt. It is not about shame. It is not about regret. Taking accountability and responsibility is about reclaiming our personal power, right? We can't go back and change the past. I feel somebody here maybe is having a hard time communicating or taking responsibility because there is a lot of regret about a lesson that I feel has been incomplete or unacknowledged, or maybe somebody moved on and thought, hey, I can block communication. I don't have to deal with this. I can just put it in the back of my mind and move forward. But I feel Saturn is saying, hey, yeah, you can walk away. We all got the choice to walk away. But there needs to be a lesson that completes here, right? Saturn is our great teacher, right? It is a planet that makes us go through the difficult walk of this Saturnian energy, which forces us to kind of face reality, even if that reality is very uncomfortable, right? And so I think maybe the message today is about teaching discipline, endurance, wisdom coming from knowing, hey, it's time to release something that's held me back, that I've held on to maybe for the last 7 years, right? I think of Pentacles as a timing energy, and it can be 7 years that somebody has carried a very heavy burden. And so there's also this energy of patience, right? Because this is connected to Taurus energy. And so Taurus is a very patient sign, right? It is a sign that has the tenacity to go within and reflect and asks us, hey, what have I invested in, right? I think maybe that's the question at hand today is, hey, what have I invested in? Is it truly paying off? Is it something that I need to continue investing in? Because I feel somebody here has really probably made a poor judgment call. And it is a masculine on the card. It doesn't have to be a man, but it is suggesting a masculine here. The King of Swords is a man, and maybe there's confusion. Maybe somebody made a poor judgment call and they're like, hey, I'm going to stay stuck in this. I'm not going to walk away because then people are going to see the truth and it's going to bring forward a lot of shame. And maybe there's regret here. But I feel there's manipulation too. The King of Swords in reverse can be a master manipulator, right? That uses maybe blocked communication as a form of control, or somebody that ghosts and wants to keep somebody hooked on them even after they've walked away from a situation. But I do feel there's a masculine here having a really hard time making a logical decision. And there is a need to kind of reassess, because this Palace of Wands is like the holy grail of the Ace of Wands. And so there's a beautiful, passionate, creative new beginning here trying to come forward. But there is a need to move on, maybe from materialism, maybe from greed with the King of Pentacles. I do feel there's something very faded going on in the energy, where maybe there's a masculine here recognizing that they've been placing their energy or their mindset in a lot of distorted regret, blame, and self-doubt. And so this kind of does all tie into the energy of the Sun conjunct Neptune today, because this transit is all about dissolving illusions, right? And so I do feel this is amplifying the blurred reality here that somebody is connected to. And so I don't know if there's like emotional fog or there's a disillusionment going on, but I do think there's a lot of self-blame. There's a lot of regret. There's a lot of Neptunian influences, though, that are allowing maybe a masculine to dive into the energies of forgiveness, right? I do think somebody here has really been affected with their self-esteem, because I think they've blamed a lot of people for where they're at in life. But deep inside, this blame, this anger is connected to maybe unresolved grief, unprocessed grief, because maybe they did lose an opportunity because they failed to appreciate somebody when they had them. But I do think there's a lot of overanalyzing here. I do feel there's a lot of overanalyzing going on, connected to the past, connected to maybe something that was walked away from. And it doesn't have to be 7 years ago. It could be 7 months ago. It could be 8 months ago. And that doesn't even have to be the timing. But I do feel there's wisdom here that needs to be embraced, right? I do think it's time to walk away from a heavy emotional burden and some illusions here. I do think there's a need to reevaluate self-worth, self-value in order to move forward, right? Because the Seven of Pentacles can go both ways. It can mean having to sit and reassess, and it can mean planting a seed and moving forward. But I do think there's a lot of distorted thinking here that is keeping a masculine stuck. It can be a Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. It doesn't have to be, but it's somebody embodying the King of Swords in reversed energy, which is somebody that is very cold, very detached, and can oftentimes be abusive with their communication and their words. And so there is a need for a higher perspective here. I do think there's a moment of release connected to some past regret, and connected to some past blame, where somebody maybe hasn't fully taken responsibility for the past. And we do have to realize we can't change the past. The only thing we can do is walk forward with clarity, walk forward with truth, and we can't force it, right? So what is the advice with this message today? The advice, I think, is to gain a new perspective. I do think there's a new perspective here that needs to be gained. It's actually Neptunian energy. And so that's really the advice here. What's on the bottom of the deck now? And this is about, I feel, belief patterns, right? The Ten of Coins is all about a belief pattern. It could be about a family legacy. It can be about I want to say like a false foundation. Maybe somebody here has spent a lot of time staying stuck in a situation because they're afraid to walk through the doorway of a new experience. I feel Virgo energy coming through. And so that's interesting because we did just have that Virgo eclipse last week. We are going into another eclipse at the end of the month in Aries. And so right now I think we're in a portal of gaining a new perspective for sure, without a doubt. The Hanged Man, I feel, for advice is really saying pause. I think somebody here needs to pause. They really got to think about where they're going next, because there is an opportunity here to move into a whole new perspective. And so I just feel between the Palace of Wands, the Hanged Man, the Ten of Pentacles, and now below that we get the Six of Pentacles. This really is spiritual surrender. That's what I heard, spiritual surrender. And so there can be insights coming in through a moment of stillness, maybe silence, right? Because the King of Swords is like no talkie. And so I do think this is about acceptance. In the context of blame and regret, it is about acceptance. And so if you find yourself stuck in a cycle of self-blame or frustration over a past decision, over something maybe you walked away from and there's regrets about that, shift your perspective. What if everything did unfold exactly as it needed to unfold in order for spiritual growth so you could tap into your highest potential? If you are maybe struggling with moving on from a situation because there's a Saturnian lesson here, the Hanged Man, I think, is saying, for the advice connected to the Eight of Cups, I think the Hanged Man is saying, shift your perspective again. Before you walk away, just take a moment of stillness. Ensure that you're leaving a situation with wisdom, not avoidance, right? We can't avoid lessons because they're just going to smack us in the face with another person in another cycle, right? And so I do feel this King of Swords is a big energy of avoidance. I do think avoidance. And so there needs to be a release. There needs to be maybe a conversation that has been avoided for many years. I do think this King of Swords in reversed is trying to mentally solve a problem that maybe needs to actually be felt and processed through the heart instead. And so I do think with this Ten of Coins on the bottom of the deck, I kind of think this is saying, see the bigger picture, right? Because this is legacy. This is long-term stability. This is generational wisdom, generational legacy. And so if you can look at the bigger picture and see beneath all of the struggles and all of the shifts, maybe there is going to be movement towards something more stable and more long lasting. And so I just feel this is a big reminder that too, the decisions we make now during this portal of eclipses are going to impact all of us long term. And so are you choosing healing? Are you choosing wisdom? Or are you going to keep choosing to hold on to past regrets, right? Are you going to hold on to these past regrets and the blame and the delays and the setbacks and allow that to kind of hold you back from your fullest potential? Because I do think the lessons that we learn now are really laying the groundwork for long-lasting success. And so what legacy do you want to create? Do you want to create a legacy built on resentment, blame, or do you want to build a legacy that is long-lasting on wisdom, responsibility, and personal growth? And so release what you think should have happened, right? Walk away from that idea, release what you think should have happened. I think there's a need to just surrender to what is. Because a lot of the challenges and struggles we face in life is from just not accepting how things are, right? Sometimes we just have to accept, hey, it is what it is. To say it is what it is a very powerful place to be. I do feel the Seven of Pentacles is also saying, take responsibility. Take responsibility for your energy, for what you've created. Get ready to walk away from what isn't serving your highest path here. I think that's a pretty strong message. And release the distorted thinking. Because I do feel there's a very strong message here about self-deception. And clarity doesn't come through force. Clarity comes through stillness, right? That's the Hanged Man. And so I also feel there could be like a Jesus consciousness here, or like a coming to Jesus moment where somebody sees the bigger picture and they are led towards long-term growth and stability. So I think strong message of surrender and pausing today and trusting that everything is kind of aligning exactly how it's meant to, even if it doesn't feel fair or feel right, because we do have that Six of Pentacles, right? Everything is working out exactly as it's supposed to, even if it doesn't feel fair. And trust with this Seven of Pentacles energy that the seeds that you plant right now are really going to shape your long-term foundation, right? Your long-term foundation. And so this is about emotionally, mentally, and spiritually planting seeds for the future. So that's kind of what I got for a message today. Let me know down below.